Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shadow. You are watching Spotlight with Shadow. Today, my guest doesn't really need an introduction, but I will introduce him as producer guy Phil, RK Regiment, aka my good friend Phil English. How are you doing tonight, my guy?
Man, this is great. I'm doing very well, dude. That was pretty freaking cool. That was awesome, man. I'm very well. How are you tonight? You doing okay?
I'm enjoying the weather, and I had a beautiful day, and just relaxing now, talking to you. Uh, so with that being said, I want to get into the intro music that we used tonight. I believe that band sounds familiar to you.
Oh, very. Let me tell you, like very familiar. You ever have like one of those moments where you're sitting in a car, you're walking in a mall, and you hear like a song, you're like, "That's just tip of my tongue." Like I got that right now, man. Who is that?
So, obviously, for those that don't know, Phil is the drummer of Burning Bridges, a friend of the show, friend of the network. So take us through your music. Oh my Jeebus,
It's a tough
your
word.
your your music journey from the beginning to Burning Bridges. Let's dive into that. Where's your love come from with it?
Oh man, so I always consider this a fun story. So if you see behind me, I got Leaf stuff everywhere. Big into hockey growing up, and when hockey's not on, I would play a sport called lacrosse, box lacrosse specifically, where it's indoor, a lot of running, and there was a tryout near where I live in Richmond Hill. It was in Pickering, and I went to the tryout with my dad, and I did terrible. Like it was for a rep team. I'd never played before. Like I went in head first. I'm learning the game as the tryouts happening. So like I am
At
setting
breakneck
myself up.
speed, just go. All
Oh
right.
yeah, like I'm sticking my hands. I'm like throwing the ball. Like every time I nail a pass, and I get to the back of the line. I'm like yes. So I bomb this tryout. Like I don't get called back. But on the drive back, my dad puts on this CD. It's Motley Crue's Red, White, and Crew. And I'm listening to it. And I'm listening to the drums. I'm just listening to everything. And I was like, man, something about like the drums was just like speaking up to me, like kickstart my heart, like Wild Side, man. And
Banger.
so when I get in like vested in something, I dive headfirst into it. Like I want to learn everything about it. I want to just like absorb as much info, video, audio as I can. And I started watching videos of Tommy Lee. Fast forward, I get a drum kit. I think it was like a graduation like gift, and I only had 4 drum lessons, 4 half-an-hour drum lessons, and I would get home from school every day, practice drums, put on like the best way to learn drums. Here's a scoop: put on your favorite songs, and just play. And I met up with my singer in grade 8. His name is Wesley Tustin. Now current singer of Burning Bridges, current guitarist. And we had an 80s rock band. Yes, that's right. We used to play 80s covers, Poison, Motley Crue, everything. We used to we were 16-year-olds too, like playing music from way beyond our like years. And we kept doing that. And when we graduated, we kind of took our separate paths. I ended up moving up here to Richmond Hill, and he ended up staying in Peterborough, doing his own thing. And I remember, fast forward literally 10 years, I'm on my way to the Heritage Classic in Buffalo, and I'm just on my phone. I just replied to one of his posts because he was doing an acoustic show, and I was like, you know what? I just like my girlfriend and I just broke up. I might as well like check out some stuff that I've missed, like go to some concerts, like take time for me, really kind of just like put myself out there, enjoy my hobbies, enjoy my interests. And that got him and I talking again. And I had literally just been to a rehearsal studio where I played drums for 3 hours, exhausting workout because I hadn't played in a year. And he's like, you know what, Phil, I'm looking for a drummer. Like, what do you think? And I just remember sitting on my bus and I had that conversation like open on my phone. And I was going to the game with my mom and I was like, he's invited me to do music. What do you think? And then she just says to me, like, well, why not? And I was like, you know what? Why not? So that's what
That
I did. I sent him a
that's
message. And dude, ever since then, we've been practicing playing shows, writing music, and the rest, as they say, is history. But it's funny how like such unique like passion like music can come from just the most like weird place. Like if it wasn't for that lacrosse tryout, I don't know if we would have listened to that CD. I don't know if I would have stayed in music and drumming, and who knows if I'd be here right now. You just got to think of that butterfly effect.
yeah, it's crazy too. Like had your dad, out of all the CDs, had he not put those on either, right? Like it could have been anything that was on. You could have gotten into rap. We don't know. We don't know. I've heard you rap, so it's not like the worst thing out there.
Oh my god, that's right.
Um,
It could have been the Eminem show, and that's a fantastic album, and I could be an MC right now. You know, like who knows?
exactly, right? And I mean, the phrase you brought up there is you're like the "why not" from your mom, and that's such a common phrase between the boys that we use a lot when
Mhm.
we're gaming and stuff. Why not? Like, right?
Why not?
We're always going on about it. So now you've known Wes most of your, or obviously all of your adulthood, but
Correct.
majority of your teenage years, and
Mhm.
now you guys are arguably meeting a lot of people bigger in the music industry now. You're
Mhm.
going places. I pump your tunes everywhere I go. I'm always telling people about you guys. I
Thank you.
love it.
Thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
we're honored to use it here on the show and the network. We love it. It's so fun, right? And I haven't made it to a show, and I get shit on by everybody for it. And I'm gonna get there. I do live far away from you, so it's a lot of planning. Um, but I enjoy it, and just even like just listening, and you've shown me like so many things, and I would have never have known about, right? And I appreciate that. So
Thank
we're
you.
learning a little bit of your music.
Mhm.
Obviously, I know you're a Leaf fan, but the people don't know. Where does the passion for the Leafs come from with you?
The passion that unites us all, you know. So that comes like, you know, most Canadian families, it starts with your grandparents watching the Leafs that pass it down to your parents, and then every Saturday night, man, it's cliche, but that's what it was for us kids growing up, man. Every Saturday you'd be hanging with your family, you'd be just watching hockey night in Canada, and for some reason or another, it draws you in. And I can remember my earliest memory was I was like 7 years old, and I knew it was a Saturday, and I was living in Lindsay at the time. And I was walking down the stairs, and I was like, Mom, are we watching the hockey game tonight? Because I've been obsessed with like hockey all of my life. Like first it was the Mighty Ducks, and it's why Paul Kariya is my favorite player of all time. It's why that Ducks jersey is my favorite one of all time. But first it was the Mighty Ducks, and then I just remember being at that age where I was like, I'm cognizant that hockey's on tonight. And I was like, well, why don't we watch it? You know? And then that turned into an every Saturday thing, which turned into an every Tuesday and Saturday, which turned into an 82 games a year event in a very boring summer after July 1st. But it's homegrown from my parents. Both me and my mom have Toronto Maple Leafs tattoos that we actually got um, as part of a thing from Leafs Nation Network, which I don't know if that exists anymore. I think I still have the link buried somewhere, but yeah, we got our own tattoos from the Leafs, and you know, it's just a special bond that stays between me, her, even me and my dad. Like we go to games when we can. We went to him. My dad and I have a losing record though, so I don't know if we're allowed to go back. But you know, it's just the thing that's passed down between generations, and you know, 5 kids down the line, it'll probably be, you know, the exact same thing. Saturday, Tuesdays, you know, if they're old enough to stay up, we got hockey on, man.
I get that. My kids are anything but Leaf fans, and I don't blame them. It's painful. Um, it can be, but like you, the Mighty Ducks were my first love in the hockey world, right? But I was really drawn, like when I really, really started watching, it was the Avalanche,
Mm,
and it was right in the heat of that rivalry with Detroit, and I liked Forsberg, Sakic, Law, like those were
how
my
could you
guys,
not? How could you not?
right? But then as I started to learn more about the game, the Leafs kind of got introduced to me, and I was like, hmm. So that's where I became a Leaf fan. But naturally, but it is what it is. Now, you have had many journeys.
Mhm.
You used to be a content creator on YouTube. I think you still do, but that's more of a hobby now as opposed to a
A
creating
profession.
world. So, what draw? I know that you're a very nostalgic video game player.
Mhm.
You do play the modern stuff, but you're a very nostalgic player.
Mhm.
So, where does your obviously the passion I think would come from your childhood, but what really drew you into video games?
Um, I remember growing up, it was you and I come from like a time where gaming, it's funny because I compare gaming now and gaming back then as like two different eras. If you wanted to play with friends back then, you had to be in the same house.
Yep.
You had to each have a controller. You had to have like your own, like you had to have your own games if you wanted to play them. And you and I come from the old school renting video games days. You remember
Yep.
that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yep.
Blockbuster, any other place I had them.
Mom and pop shops, man, right around the corner from me. Grumpy's Video. You could rent a game on a Friday for $3 and have it for the entire weekend. It was amazing. But I remember just playing Super Smash Brothers with my friends. I would be playing Mario Kart, Mario Party. And it's just one of those things where I feel like a lot of times as adults, we get into collecting, we get into, like it's the whole nostalgia of chasing that feeling. And every time like I play these old school, like I'm a big retro gamer, like I have an N64 tattoo on my wrist. It's just something about when you play those games, it brings back that feeling of nostalgia, and just it transports you back to a place in that time, where everything was just innocent. You were just like a stupid 9-year-old kid, trying to beat your buddy as Captain Falcon. You were trying to go through Smash Brothers, normal, 3 lives, no continues to unlock Ness. See, don't ask me about taxes, but I can tell you how to unlock Ness in the first Smash Brothers. And then even Super Smash Brothers Melee going on. It's just that whole feeling of chasing nostalgia and just reliving some of those moments. And even nowadays, like I still have some fond memories, playing NHL, and the trademark, I don't know if you can swear, but Shadow on here, where Shadow just scores a goal.
Shadow shit, bro.
Possible.
Shadow shit.
Oh yeah, there it is. Shadow shit. Yeah, where he scores a goal you just don't think's possible in any physics way, shape, or form, but yet it happens, and you're just like, well, whatever. To playing with our buddy Dusty, and he doesn't realize you have to grab an elevator cable, and he falls 40 stories and just splats. And and it's just that camaraderie of the internet now allowing you to experience some sort of resemblance to an era gone by. And it's why nowadays I tend to find myself playing more multiplayer games, and not like the traditional ones like Call of Duty, Fortnite. Like that's not my scene. But games like Dying Light, shout out Marshall, shout out Kyle, NHL, with you, Tyler, the previously mentioned boys, Audie, WWE, where I can just make my own dude and just like go through community creations, hype my own story up. And that's another thing too, is dude, I would spend hours in universe mode. Do you remember universe mode in 2010?
Oh, yes.
Hours. Gone. I would play that mode with my buddy Kyle for hours on end. And we'd have our own stories, our own matches. And it's something that, is cool about modern gaming now, is it like presents you these opportunities in video games that you couldn't have before. And, that's why, as good as the nostalgia of retro is, there's some good perks to modern gaming too.
I mean, without modern gaming, I don't meet you.
That's true. That's true.
Because if it wasn't for NHL 16,
I would have 17 is when I started, 18 is when I started playing.
So maybe 17, 18 is where we met, but maybe I'm just thinking of the year because that's when it would have been released, 17,
True.
16.
True.
But yeah, if it wasn't for that, I would have never met you and guarded this great friendship we have. So what is your favorite console of all time?
Imagine I go, it's the Atari 2600. No, like I said, it's the Nintendo 64. It's the most nostalgic to me. To me, I'm gonna die in this hill. I think it's the most underappreciated console of all time. Listen, all you got, well, the controller sucks. It's not too many games. Well, first off, controller's a bit weird, but you're welcome for the thumbstick. Okay, you're welcome for these nice back buttons that you're able to play now. And you can't top some of these multiplayer games, man. You can't top Mario Party. You can't without GoldenEye, you would not have Call of Duty. Okay, you're welcome. Fair. Without Perfect Dark, games like Jet Force Gemini, Diddy Kong Racing, Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, Mario Kart, classics, man. And like I said, it was like you could invite all of your friends over and just spend hours. Pokemon Stadium, man. Pokemon in 3D. A genuinely underappreciated console, and I will die on the hill that the N64 deserves more respect. All right, I will die on this hill. Bury me, gun to the earth.
Well, with that being like that said, with the being underappreciated, there's a game that to this day, me and you try to hunt that's stupidly expensive, and that's Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is way before its time. And it's still, I would say it still stands the test of time.
Man, I absolutely agree. And the thing is, I used to be like I still am like an avid collector, but like I used to be like I have to have the full 296 North American N64 library, and so I've owned Conkers at one point in time. But being a stupid 20-year-old, just being like, whatever, I'll buy it back later. I'm sure it won't be that expensive. Sold it like an idiot. But that game is just amazing. It's very well written. Rare tended to do that. They tended to make games with interesting dialogue, interesting characters. A boatload of movie references. Saving Private Ryan, with the teddy bears, which I'm just gonna leave that scene there. I'm just not gonna talk about it because the teddies are their own thing, and I'm not gonna bring anything like that up. But there's the Matrix that's parodied. A Clockwork Orange is parodied in the beginning, and it was ahead of its time. And Nintendo basically said we're not promoting it at all. But funny story, do you know what company did promote Conker's Bad Fur Day? You want to take a guess?
I'm gonna say Sony.
The Road to WrestleMania 17 tour, buddy, in
Oh.
Toronto, sponsored by Conker's Bad Fur Day, the Attitude Era, and Attitude Squirrel, a partnership made in hell. All right, I just remember Conker's Bad Fur Day all over that Air Canada Center because time. Okay, I know it's Scotiabank Arena now, but Air Canada Center. That was everywhere in the promotional material, and that was so funny. That and a little
18,
wrestling
not
game.
17, right?
Sorry,
WrestleMania 18, no?
no, it was Road to 17.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
Because they did those live events like Road to WrestleMania, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It was Road to 17, which is funny because now they do the holiday tour after, which I guess is Road, but whatever. Yeah, it was promotion for that, and it was promotion for a game I should have mentioned when I was rambling about the N64, and an underappreciated game, WWF No Mercy, the greatest wrestling game of all time. I said it. I said what I said. I said it.
I put No Mercy up there. Obviously, it's like 1-2. It's interchangeable with this title, which would be Day of Reckoning for GameCube. That was
That's
a
another
severely
appreciated
underrated game. Like the story was amazing,
one.
and it was so fucking annoying as a young lad and trying to beat it.
Did you play 2?
I did. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that cage match in 2?
Oh shit! It's been years since I played it, man.
For reference, in I think it's 2. You have a fatal 4-way cage match, and the AI is just so cheap, and you can only win by escape the cage. And the way Day of Reckoning work is you have your finisher, and it's like da 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 da, and then you have so long. I literally had to edit my move set so I could just have a fast finisher, like an STO, so I can hit 3 and then climb the cage. I spent an hour on that cage match. An hour. I think it was like Randy Orton, Shawn Michaels, Jericho, maybe Shelton Benjamin. It was 3 other people because it was in that era. But that cage match has given me PTSD, and it's a reason I don't want to replay that game.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it like I did Day of Reckoning, but I mean, then I got into, I bought my first console myself, which would have been the PS2, and I dived into SmackDown versus Raw.
How could you not? How could you
The GM
not?
mode, me and my buddy would sit there and play for hours. I mean, we'd get to his house right after school on a Friday night, and I swear to God, we never left the basement until Sunday morning. Like,
do you guys want some dinner? No, Mom, it's Backlash. Stop it.
like, it was just crazy times, right? And speaking of wrestling, I think I just saw you like a few days ago.
Man, did you?
I think so. I think we went to SmackDown.
We did.
An event called Money in the Bank.
Hold on. Let me double check that. Yep, checks out.
Right, and then we went to NXT Heatwave.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, what a show! But man, that's right. All weekend, I saw you. There was a lot of promotional stuff happening going on there. There was just so much promotion happening.
I got so many cans right now, man.
Oh my goodness. I just broke this tab in half, by the way. Have you ever seen that? Look at this. I broke the tab. It's in half. I broke that in half.
Excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to get one of cheers with you.
Oh my God. Please do. Yeah, guys, for future reference, like I actually shattered this thing. Like I don't think I've ever done that to a can in my entire life. Oh my god, I didn't know if I was gonna have enough force to fully like bring that back in, but oh my goodness gracious, that's actually hilarious. Look at this gentleman. Hey, there you go.
So I got the Hawaiian punch.
I got the blue. I have the
I finished
frozen
those ones.
bombsicle.
So
There
we're
you
gonna
go.
cheers to a great
All right,
weekend here.
cheers. Boom. There you go. Mm-mm. Mm. Hawaiian
I mean,
Punch is much better, by the way.
speaking of C4
Mhm.
and this weekend, that poor pastor man got
Oh my god. Okay.
pelted with C4.
Oh, listen. I'm all for anyone, believing what they want to believe in or not believing what they want to believe in. Your business in faith and that regard is completely,
It's
you're
your
up to
choice.
you.
We respect it.
However,
Hmm.
if you are going to say preach the word to others, I would say know your audience or know events that are happening
Hmm.
because there was a poor gentleman trying to spread the word who ended up getting pelted with chants, pelted with drinks to the point where police had to come down multiple nights. And by the second or third day, he had enough and he was calling everyone religious names, sinners. I believe he was saying other things. But yeah, there was a pastor who was just not having a good time. But I think you and I had a great time though that weekend.
Phil is the only man that has made me shoot a C4 out of my nose
Mm-hmm.
because he
Mm-hmm.
said, I don't remember what was said. I just remember it was outlandish and it just shot out my nose.
Oh, that probably burned too, eh? Oh my
Oh,
goodness
it
gracious.
burned all the way to the loose moose.
Shout out Loose Moose and their ability to put 6 people at a table and have working air conditioning
Right.
in the summer. But it's funny because like I brought up these lovely physical tickets, and how did we end up with such physical tickets, Shadow?
Oh,
Maybe we
that,
shouldn't divulge full sources, but just shout out a person, one of our buddies, you know?
yeah, we're just gonna take a nod to the Canadian of sexy himself.
That's right.
Oh, that was definitely an epic night. Getting where we sat was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I, everybody's asked me how the weekend was, and I'll be honest. I said straight up, I enjoyed the shows. I enjoyed them,
Mm-hmm.
but I enjoyed everything that happened afterwards, and
Mm-hmm.
just chilling with everybody and having a good time and having a good laugh because that's what it's about. Yeah, we just went and watched like 9 hours of wrestling, sure, but like just sitting together and enjoying each other's company and having a laugh and not always talking about wrestling is amazing too.
That was fun. That was good because it's like that's the thing that like brings you together, but then you branch off into like other avenues, other stories. You get to hang out with people that like you just met for the first time. You learn about like people traveling. Like a couple of our friends traveled in from the States to see this show, you know?
Right.
A couple of you
Speaking
guys.
of that, one took a big poop in the moose loose.
Oh my god, yep.
That was the whole thing.
Another one of our friends looks a lot like Ethan Page.
Yeah. The all American.
That was so yeah, the all American ego. That's right. But again, that was a thing where you were able to like meet up with them, and now you guys got another avenue to talk about wrestling there with them as well. Like I said, it's cool because it brings a whole community together, and like for me, honestly, like I keep up like very passively because I don't have as much time as I'd like between music practices, rehearsals, songwriting. So I keep up very passively. But I'm not gonna lie, man. I'll be honest with you. After watching Heat Wave, and that's what I was telling you, I'm like, I got that wrestling bug again. You know,
Right.
I watched NXT for like the first time since Black and Gold the other day, and I loved it. I was invested. Like the in ring is amazing. The characters are incredible. The reactions were great. I'd never heard of Chase U, and I love those guys now.
Right. Scals would love you for saying that.
Oh God.
I'm still very borderline on NXT because I loved Black and Gold. To
Mhm.
me, NXT still has a lot to prove. To me again to come back. Right? They're doing all
Okay.
the right things. They're doing great things. and I'll tune in here and there depending what it is. But I'm not like I was with the black and gold.
It's you're right, because it feels like different eras, and like I was holding the show I was watching on Sunday to that standard, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like I enjoyed NXT Heatwave like tremendously. I enjoyed it more than I initially thought I was going to. Like I could literally rewatch that show again from front to back and enjoy
I,
it. Like it
I
was
do want to shout
genuinely
out the
that good.
people that sat in front of you and say "fuck you" because I was comfortable.
They were cool though. You know what? Not as cool as you, but they were cool. So I'm not gonna hate on them too much. You know.
I'm not gonna get mad. I was all the way basically on the floor, anyways.
For
So
reference, Shadow actually had better seats than I did.
yeah,
Okay,
I was just enjoying the company. All right, like,
you had great company too, but listen, it's no Phil. Okay, like
it's
I'm
no
sorry.
Phil, 100.
Let me
percent
inflate my all ego. Okay, you know.
Yeah.
It's no Phil. Yeah.
So, like you said, you passively catch up on wrestling. You're known to dabble in the arts of AEW now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what do you think about that right now?
AEW for me is it's kind of like it's in a weird state with me because listen, up until everything happened with one Philip Jack Brooks, like past that, I was just like, eh, like I wasn't as interested. I will argue that 2021 AEW was magical. I will argue that to the ends of the earth. But they're starting to really pull me back in now with they got Swerve. The big thing that just happened with Mariah May and Tony Storm, I think is incredible. Forbidden Door, for as painstakingly long as it was, had some great matches on it. And everything with the scapegoat, Jack Perry, and the Elite, like AEW's kind of cooking right now. But you know, it's just like something about them, just like in the last little bit, to me, it's lost kind of its magic to me. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's horrible, but every wrestling appeals to everybody different. And it's just like
Right.
I didn't have the desire to be like, oh, okay, I need to catch up from this like every day now. I can be like, all right, if I watch it, cool. But you know, if I miss it, like I'm not like too beat up about it. Whereas with like
Right.
WWE, I'm trying to now be like, okay, like this is good, this is exciting. Like it feels new and it feels fresh. But I'm just gonna say it, man. Wrestling in general, everywhere is going through this amazing renaissance. And as a fan, I'm happy to see it.
I brought up a point and I tweeted out yesterday. It might have been the day before. Now is the time. Whether AEW does it, I'd rather see WWE do it because it was their concept. But AEW or WWE needs to pull the trigger now and bring back a Cyber Sunday type event
Okay.
because that was way ahead of its time in 05, 06.
Yeah.
That's when the internet was just kind of like, phasing in and out with our generation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And now with the IWC being the way they are and wanting all this input, give them Cyber Sunday. Because then when they don't get the results they want, they have no one to blame but themselves.
That's fair. The problem, and not that it's a problem. First off, I'm with you. I think it's a great concept. The problem is that if a company is going to do this, they need to truly make it like very exciting. Do you remember like in 2012, they're like, "Do you want to see Alberto Del Rio face John Cena in a Falls Count Anywhere match, a no DQ match, or a no holds barred match?" It's like they're all the same. Like,
It's the same
oh,
match, different
sorry,
names.
I can pin one outside the ring versus the other two. Like, exactly. Like, give me something truly unique like that. And there's going to be no way to prove it, but they need to make it 100% legit. They say it was legit, but I can't take the previous owner of WWE's word for anything. So, I
I
exactly
don't think
like,
many people can.
no, I need it to be legit. I think it'd be a very cool idea. And I could honestly, I could see somewhat, or I could see a company like AEW or even Impact doing something like that. I think that's right up their kind of alley as well. You know, something kind of truly unique to stand out. But I'm with you. I think a Cyber Sunday would be completely fresh, and I think more appreciated nowadays than it would have been in 2008, 2007 when it was.
Yeah, it was definitely, like I said, it was way before its time in the concept. Right ideas, just wrong timing.
And don't make it a write-in category because it's going to be Joe Hendry winning everything.
That man will be so tired. He'll be walking out like Kenny Omega with all the belts.
Who should be in this match? Write-in only. Oh well, say his name and he appears. All right.
Speaking of Kenny Omega, I think you're a fan of him, if I remember correctly.
Pretty sizable fan of one Kenward Omega.
So, how do you feel? Obviously, right now he's injured.
Mhm.
And he's been injured, and it might look like his career is over because he hasn't quite said it is, and he hasn't quite said it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
If he is to be done now, where do you put him?
All time in terms of like the greats.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you youngins, if you've never watched just New Japan like Bullet Club Omega, you're missing out. There's a moment where you could just tell like this guy's different, and it's his matches with Okada. But in terms of in ring, we know what Kenny Omega is. He's a top tier, amazing wrestler. Okay, we're talking like amongst the best of the very best. Okay, but there's a specific promo where Kenny's in New Japan, and then he's talking, and then he switches up and starts talking in Japanese, and you just see the crowd go like, oh, like they like he flipped a switch and they're like, oh, okay. And that to me is just like that is what like ascends him in my mind. Like I would respectfully put him top 10 all time, but Kenny Omega just as a talent, as a person to cut a promo, unreal. Okay, like some of his skills unmatched. Like he could go toe to toe 60 minutes with any of the greats. You put any of the greats in there with him, it's going to be a bell to bell, like 7. I don't know how many stars are up to you. 8-star match.
Nobody listens to Meltzer, anyways. You're fine.
Yeah. Okay. Good. But amongst the all pro wrestling, top 10 for me. Maybe even top 5.
All right. Without thinking, top 2 matches you'd like to see him have. Go.
Without thinking, okay, top 2 right now. A big rematch with Kazuchika Okada. That's easy. Okay.
All right.
It's funny because these are all like big trilogy matches, and then right now you put it in Toronto. You have all my money. You give me Omega Ospreay 3. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
You know what? I'll go with bro. The fact that we watched that last year,
incredible.
Just breathe that air was.
Best match I've ever seen in person.
That's what I said. I don't think there's going to be many that could top that, in my opinion.
No. It was just incredible. The crowd, the moments, the fighting spirit. It's just, it's one that like, if I want to like show someone what pro wrestling's about, that's one of them right there.
Another match that I think off the top of my head is Omega Rollins.
Oh my God. That would cook.
That would just, their styles would just, boom, bang.
Oh, that's another good one. Oh man, see now you got me thinking. I was only thinking in his company. If I'm crossing borders here, you know who I think could really give him a good run right now. I think just in comparison of like styles and just like you have Kenny's style and this person's style. I think you pair them together and give him 45 minutes. Give me Kenny Omega versus Gunther.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have power, you have Kenny, you have that fighting spirit, man. And if Kenny gets him up, especially now, One-Winged Angel, boom. Oh, my Lord. I think just stylistically, because you know Kenny would sell the hell out of those chops. Oh, my God.
He would.
Maybe it happened with him and Walter, and I just haven't seen it, but oh, my God. Him and Gunther.
We'll have to look at that and see. I don't think it's ever happened, though.
Okay. Hot take before we move on. Hot take. Kenny Omega, Logan Paul.
Okay.
I said it. Those guys, magic.
I can respect that. And so many people shit on Logan. And you know what? It's fair. I
should drink.
They have their opinions, right? They have their opinions of him.
Mm-hmm.
But he, like everybody else, he was a dumb idiot teenager, did some stupid shit.
Yep.
But he's come to WWE. Okay, yeah, he hasn't defended his U.S. title in whatever days, whatever. That's fine.
2 defenses, buddy.
But whatever, right? Because he still respects the business.
Mm-hmm.
He's dragging that title places that no one's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the business right. He's not like shitting on the business.
Mm-hmm.
And even wrestlers have said he's doing good.
Mm-hmm. I've had a plan for Logan Paul for a year now, and here's what I really wanted him to do. I wanted Logan Paul to win that Money in the Bank briefcase, and I want him to bring it everywhere. Like, I want that man to be like on Impulsive, and in the background, it's just that briefcase
Just
standing
there,
right here.
right?
Right there. I want him to be on like red carpets, have that briefcase. I even went so far as to have, I want whoever like his opponent would be to be on his show for even just a moment. And you have that face off like on his actual set.
That'd
That's
be
what I
dope.
want.
Yeah, oh, that would be something. Now we're talking about wrestling, and
Mhm.
I know you to be kind of an active collector
Mm.
of merchandise and
Hmm.
memorabilia. I know you have a lot of Leafs memorabilia,
Hmm.
but I know you have some wrestling memorabilia. But before I ask you what you have,
Yes.
I am set to remind you that you let a CM Punk Funko Pop run out of your collection very many years ago.
Damn. I did. I felt that. I genuinely felt that. Yeah, there's a very fun story to that. And to preface this is I know where that Funko Pop is. I
Yeah, but
know
you
where
can't
that
take it
is.
back.
No, I know where that is, and I've tried to get it back. Okay. So when I was just a spry young adult, my brother, I have a brother. His name is Landon. He was also getting into wrestling. He was also a big CM Punk fan. Him and I shared a lot of similar like favorite wrestlers. And I remember for his birthday, I was like, you know what? I'm like, I think you'd appreciate this just as more. Here you go. So I gave it to him as a birthday gift. And everything happened. He left like I think a year later or like 2 years later. And then that Funko Pop shot up in value. Like I'm talking like spiked in value. And it's vaulted now, which in Funko terms means they're not making it again, which I think Funko, please, please, for the love of God, make another one just for me.
Just make a new
And
one.
I've talked to them a bunch of times. I said, like, listen, if you want to sell it, I'll buy it off you. And then he's like, no. He's like, no. And I'm like, come on. I've tried to buy it off him. I've tried everything. No dice. So every time I go back home to Lindsay, I see him. It's just a reminder. It stabs me right here. But you know what? Bright side, it's in a good home. It's in a great home. I know it's appreciated. And at the end of the day, that's all I can ask. But just stings every time I look at it. Just a little sting,
Right? That's also another vaulted pop sting. Um
That there you go. Funko knowledge with Shadow.
yeah. I have enough of them, so uh so what do you got to show us here? What do you got over here, bud?
Oh, I'm really glad you asked, by the way. I don't have these prepped at all, of course, but let's start with some photos here. So I went to SummerSlam fan festival here. I don't know how well these are going to come with focus, but that's a signed Adam Cole, baby, 8 by
Baby.
10, which I got when he was at Scotiabank Arena. You had to buy an item at the store to get in line for a signing, and I had an 8 by 10 printed up. So I remember I bought a SummerSlam 2019 puck for $20. And me and Kyle, we got one of the last couple of wristbands. But that was cool. I got a nice Sami Zayn personalized. He's like, do you want to put a name on it? And I was like, yep, because whenever anyone asks, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I'm not gonna like resell half of these. But nice Sami Zayn. And by the way, if you're ever getting autos, paint pen. Paint pen. All right. Paint pen always pops, doesn't fade. It's amazing. You might recognize this guy. I'm gonna play a game with you. I'll see if you recognize this. Who is this here?
That would be in there. It's Aleister Black, but it's
Mhm.
Malachi Black.
That's right. One of my favorites, actually. Here is a very fun one. I got to tell a very funny story. Shadow, obviously, podcasts, live shows. Can you name one of the OG wrestling podcasts from back in the day? I think it might be still going, but can you name like an OG podcast? It involves a wrestler. Can you name it?
Oh, I cannot off the top of my head.
The Art of Wrestling with Colt Cabana. I used to listen to that in high school. Okay. Two of my favorite episodes are episodes 18 and 51. And that would be because of this man, Mr. Art 59, Mr. Cliff Compton. That's right. AKA Domino, baby. I love Cliff Compton. That is one of my boys, man. Every time I had SmackDown versus Raw, I'd always make Cliff Compton. He's also in the Wrestling Road Diaries, which is one of my favorite movies. And if you've never watched that, you absolutely should. But
right. You heard it
yeah,
here
you weren't
first.
expecting
So
that one, were you?
if he lets you down about the wrestling book movie, you can come find him on Twitter and bitch at him.
That's right. No, Wrestling Road Diaries. You're gonna love it. Another big thing that I'm into is figures. I collect a lot of figures. This one's I just
Before
picked
you
this up at
start,
Comic-Con.
you're the reason I started collecting figures.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
I collected Funkos, but you're the reason I got into collecting figures themselves.
So the thing about that is I'm like every kid in like 2000s. Like I had a bunch of action figures. I had my own like Federation. I had the Hell in a Cell. I had all the plastic belts and everything. But nowadays I keep them to try and get them signed. And this one I picked up. Now I try to pick up like some of my favorites. I don't get everything. Like I'm not a total like 100% collector, but this is Cora Jade. I really like Cora Jade. I think she's dope.
Ooh.
Got this at Comic-Con. Got a good deal. Actually, this was a gift at Comic-Con, so thank you. This one, if you know me, you'll know why this is great. This is a rare 1 of 3,000 Taz figure.
Oh my god. Yeah, I know
Uh-huh.
why now.
Yep. So there used to be a Twitter account named Taz Vibes to Songs. That's no longer on Twitter or X anymore. But I always wanted to get this signed, and I was going to get like a Taz Vibes inscription, something like that. Because so I know someone used to run that account. Let's just say that. I know someone used to run that.
It was a banger account too.
Thank you. And now we get into I think a big reason Shadow's collecting, and that's signed figures.
Yes.
So one I got right here, which is a staple. And actually, I bought this figure just by itself with the intention of getting it signed. But then one Jeffrey Nero Hardy cannot come into Canada is something I remembered. And so I ended up buying this through highspots.com. And that is a signed Jeff Hardy figure.
I think I remember that whole conversation because you're like, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? Should I do it? Like you went back and forth on it for a couple times, and then you did decide to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I embrace the motto that I have now, which is very irresponsible and stupid, which I will preface saying that is don't follow this motto, but I always say now it's future Phil's problem. But I bought it a couple of years ago, and this was my like favorite era of Jeff because that's like the 2002, 2003. I've always wanted to find that shirt, by the way, but I've never found it. Again, it's paint pen, so that's how it still stays nice. It's good. And like I said, I bought this one and ended up gifting it to Shadow's kids.
Yeah, which I
And
still
then
have.
this is one that's never leaving my collection. Well, it is, but it's only leaving if it goes to one Shadow, and that was a gift from him. So thank you. And that is a signed Demon Finn Balor.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember I was deciding between this and a Hardy Boys 2-pack, and he said, well, go get the 2-pack. So I did. And then he's like, but also get this too. And I was like, what? And it was one of the nicest gifts I've ever gotten. And I've sold a lot of stuff out of my collection. But like I said, this is one that I've always kept because Finn's my guy. I have so many Balor Club shirts.
Speaking of that, did you hear that he wants to bring the Demon back to do with the Wyatt Six?
That would be cool. That would
But he wants it. He wants it to remain a face.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm kind of interested to see where that goes.
And I got 3 more things here. We're gonna go to your realm here. I got Funkos.
Oh, yes.
One of my favorites. I got Mommy. I got Rhea.
Mommy.
This is one of my first pre-orders from GameStop that I got him. And this was another one because not too many people in my area collect wrestling. The fabled 4-sticker Ted DiBiase. Look at this.
I'm going to be an asshole. Keep in mind, you also work there, so you get first dibs on every Jace that comes in.
Not true. Not true. And here's what I'll tell you, okay? The way that goes, so to clear the air, it's whoever pre-orders first. And because no one in Richmond Hill pre-orders figures, I got it.
That's fair. I just like being an asshole to employees. I don't
rare 4-sticker. I got that. And this is an exciting one, okay? I got this as a 10th birthday gift.
Holy shit.
And so that would have been 2000. No, maybe it wasn't 10. No, I think it was 11 or 12. Yeah, it would have been 12. The year absolutely plays into this, and you'll see why. So I got this as a birthday gift, okay? That is the fabled John Cena CD. I took this out of the case.
I love it.
No, you're gonna love this part, by the way. It's autographed by John Cena.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't ever let Laura see that.
I have had this for 10 years. I got to get the case replaced. So I'm thinking of just buying another copy of the CD and just putting it in there. Like just take the booklet out. I feel like that's probably the best course of action. But this is the fabled John Cena CD with all the credits inside. Written by. Like look at all this.
No, not even. I don't know what number it is on there, but like right now is a banger track.
Oh, it's number 4 and it absolutely slaps.
That one's one of the best on there.
That one slaps. Bad Bad Man. I remember they hyped that one up. That one's good.
Speaking of Rikishi,
Bad Man.
I think it was Sunday night. We were talking about Rikishi doing a Canadian destroyer.
Oh my god! Yeah, how? Listen, I'm not a physicist, but I want to know how that man was able to pull that off. All right.
I don't know. I want to see it though. I do.
But yeah, that's probably one of the nice little jewels in my collection there, and it's funny because I remember getting it as a gift, and then John Cena went on to arguably have one of the most decorated wrestling careers of all time. And
Right?
I've looked up the value of this, and it's still worth some good coin because if you look closely here, I don't know how close I can get. It's John Cena's full auto, so you can see like the John.
He doesn't do anymore.
He doesn't. He does the weird scribbly little thing. But this
Yeah.
is the full John autograph from 2005. So this is a pretty tough one to get.
That's like
I don't think I've ever shown Shadow that either. So that was a surprise for him.
that's like my I have a Fiend picture in my collection. It's not signed as Bray Wyatt. It's signed as Wyndham,
Oh, which that's a hard one to get too.
which will never leave my collection. Just like he rarely ever signed Bray Wyatt fully either.
Mm-hmm.
But there is ones out there, which I was, as you know, just gifted, and I have 2 myself in my collection. So, and Mr. Scals behind the camera here does as well.
I still got to find one. That's another future me problem. All right.
See, but I was lucky enough to get the ultimate,
Mm-hmm.
and that says Bray Wyatt right across it. You know, I have the fedora signed by Bray Wyatt. Like, it's nice in the collection. Those will never leave. Nothing Bray's leaves my collection really.
Smart.
So, did you have one more thing you wanted to show there? I think you said 4, and I think you showed 3.
No, that was the absolute last one. That was the heavy hitter that I've kept.
I don't even think I knew you had that until this moment.
No, that's what I was saying. It was like I was going through my stuff and I was like, I don't think I've ever shown him that. And I was like,
No,
ooh, that'll be a good surprise.
that is a hella dope surprise. So I want to segue back to Phil the Musician for a minute.
Yeah.
What do you guys have coming up with Burning Bridges this summer?
There's a lot of stuff. We're playing a couple big Pyrofest shows in Lindsay and Hamilton. The dates of which are early August. You can find on our website, burningbridges.ca. But we have a couple tracks coming up. We were just in the studio not too long ago. We have our next single, Love's the Game, which is one of my favorites to play live. And then we have another one we're working on called Right Where I Belong, which is cool because it's more of like a pop punk track.
Okay.
But it's like in like baritone guitars and everything, but it still fits in that style. And it's become a really awesome track that I've seen. But Love's the Game is the next one. We did it in Reverie Studios in Peterborough with Adam Haggerty, who is one of the best producers, engineers in that area. His studio is absolutely incredible. I wanted to give a plug to Adam because Adam's just amazing. Also fellow Leaf fan. So he is just a great producer. He's making our track have a nice, great mix. We got some cool little samples we're using and stuff on it too. So I'm excited for that one to come out. We don't have a release date yet, but let's just say it's coming soon.
All right. And people want to buy merch. What's the best way to do that?
Best way to do that is just come to a live show, man. Come see us, get a hold of us. We can, if you're in that area, we can sometimes do deliveries as well. We're working on getting an infrastructure set up so we can do some shipping and stuff like that. But listen, when you're an independent mom and pop operation, you know, it's a little bit tough to get that underneath you, but always come to a live show when you can. Always get some footage, get some merch. Meet us after the show, man. We're always at the merch table. We're more than happy to take some photos, sign some t-shirts. We just launched hats that are pretty cool. I still got to get Shadow one. We didn't anticipate the demand, which was poor business 101, supply and demand, and we Nintendo'd that situation by not having enough. But yeah, please come to a live show. That includes you, Shadow, as well. Come to a live show.
Over the next 2 months, I'm planning to get to one of the next few you have going, whether it's
Hamilton would be personally the best one, I think, for you. It'd be a lot less travel, I think, but Hamilton would be good. Just any live show in general would be good.
I'm trying. It's like I said, my schedule is so difficult. But we're coming up to the hour mark here, and I want to leave stuff for another day as well. So
Okay.
please plug yourself and where people can find you.
Oh, this is great.
And promote anything you wish to, as long as it's PG, I guess.
All right, so you can find me on OnlyFans. I'm just kidding. No, you can. I almost got him again. You see that? I almost got him again.
Yeah, I can't do the C4 again, man.
I almost got him again. That was so close. No, you can find
That's what she said.
You can find me burningbridges.ca, the band's website. Find us on Apple Music, Spotify. Just type in Burning Bridges. Look for this lovely face right here. And you can find me just online at Arcade Regiment, man. I'm on Twitter. It's not X, it's Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You'll see me tweeting my outlandish hockey takes. I've been talking about music. I'm back into that wrestling bug. But I'm fairly accessible, man. But absolutely follow me on at Arcade Regiment. But music, man, please check us out if you haven't already. If you like what you heard of the intro, we got a lot more stuff. We have lot more stuff, man.
They definitely do.
Please check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your tunes. We're there.
All right. With that being said, I am Shadow. This has been an episode of Spotlight. We look forward to having Phil on again in the future. Hopefully, we get the rest of Burning Bridges on with him, and we can have a conversation and see where the night goes.
That's for trying to wrangle cattle, let me tell you.
Yeah, we discussed. Thank you for tuning in, and I have another interview coming up this week as well. Thank you.